Hello, everyone, and welcome to Language Talks. In this show, we talk to experts who shape the world of language and content. We are in conversation today with a guest who stands right at that crucial bridge between writers and publishers. She is Lalitha Ravindran. She is the founder of First Forays, which is a literary agency that has helped numerous authors navigate the complex journey of publication and beyond. She is the founder of First Forays Literary Agency and represents over 70 authors worldwide. Her agency handles most fiction and non-fiction genres and has sold several adaptation deals to be made into films and series. She has worked in India, Hong Kong, and the United States of America as a strategic business consultant for global technology companies and insurance clients. She helps authors make their dreams of publishing their books come true. So let's talk to her and know more about her business. Hello, Lalitha.
Hello, Lalita. It's wonderful that there's a Lalita on the other side as well.
Yes, I feel the same way too. So, welcome to Language Talks.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Lalita, for asking me to be on your podcast.
You're welcome. Lalitha, let me take you back. So, tell me what first drew you to the world of books?
I mean, this is depends. Your childhood, you don't choose it. It's where you're born. And I'm a Tam Bram family and a typical one, very traditional, where reading was always a part of your daily routine. Studying as well as reading. I am the last of five children. And so there were older siblings who were, 10 plus years older than me. So the house was always full of books. And also, I was born in an era where there was nothing else but books to see. Either you played outdoor, climbing trees and, catch and cook and all those things that we played, or you sat at home and read books in the afternoon and things when it was not appropriate to
Right.
go. So books were the only companions, and almost everyone read something or the other. Some were much ahead of their time, some of them were lagging behind, but something or the other was being read. And every member in my family was a reader. There was bookshelves, there was access to books, and also in our school there was a library class. You were encouraged to check out books. You were encouraged to do external additional reading and things like that. So world of books was, you were born into it.
That is so true. I think we belong to the same generation where we have done either we played outdoor or we read books in the house.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes. There was no other entertainment, nothing to hold in your hand, no television even.
That's so true. Yes. So, when did you realize that stories would become your professional path?
I didn't realize it at all. As a matter of fact, it was not in my zone at all. I'm a MBA finance. I went into insurance and technology. And I thought that I would be working in the corporate world till my legs could carry me and my brain was ticking. A lot of the companies I worked in did not have a retirement age. The last one did, but they did not have. And so there was nothing for me. We are in a very nuclear family. My daughter was, graduated, married off, and things like that. And there's nothing else to do but to work. What else could you do? I'm not a highly domesticated, dusting my house and looking at things and cooking a great menu. I'm not that person. I would rather go out and eat, rather than, try out all the dishes at home. And so I had nothing but one fine day, I went to work and I said, I hereby resign. I think I had hit the glass ceiling. I did not like it anymore. There was too much stupidity around me, at least from how I saw it. And, from zero to $7 million in revenue, and there were several men coming to take over and become my boss, even though they didn't know a thing about my work and they were at my own level. And I thought that was so wrong, but nobody seemed to care. And so I said, I don't need to be doing this. I will try something else. I had also moved from public sector to IT, and I never think that I'm going to fail in anything. No, I just jump into it. And I always feel there are only two things that I can't do. One is to be a pilot because that requires a whole lot of training. I feel I can't do that. And one maybe like a surgeon, where you have again everything else I thought I'm capable of doing. Any other job, HR, anything, training and all. But nothing suited me and my personality and the stage in life. I was in my mid 50s already. And so there was no drive, to check out anything. The things that I did check out was all old boys school. You scratch my back, and me being a senior person there, you were expected to, do all those things which I am not capable of doing. And so I was like a vagabond for about 2.5 years, just traveling, random, going here and there, going to the monthly book club that had sprouted here. And of course, reading any other book, events, crossword, going and sitting in crossword, browsing through the books and things like that. Unfortunately or unfortunately, in one of the Pune festivals, uh, when I thought I'm going to die of boredom because I had nothing to do, I had no purpose in life after I woke up. Everything was done and there was nothing to do. And and it was 12 hours of watching television or movies, And then I met an author, and then he was on a panel, and then we got talking, and then he said we have to be in touch. He published his book, The Bombay Swastika, and he said you must read and give me your review. So I did. He was following up a lot, have you bought the book? Have you read the book? Are you going to review? And I was finding it very strange that somebody I met randomly in a festival who just happened to be sitting in front of me was so keen that a stranger should read a book and he was the one who sort of, I think, in different stages in your life, people enter your life for a purpose. And one thing led to another, an idea that I should become a literary agent. He said, you have all the trappings of being an agent. And I didn't know what that meant. I thought he was just doing it. He wants me to work, help him for free. And I also didn't know what is to be done. You are just a reader of books. You don't even know who has published these books. You don't know how they get published. And the world is changing so rapidly. You don't know anything. So I had no clue at all I will land up there, but that's why I think it's a stroke of karma that I'm here where I am today.
Right. I think divine intervention.
Yeah, it looks like that to me.
So, from being a book lover, you went on to starting a literary agency. So, how was that in the initial days? I mean, did you face any challenges, or how did you go about it?
Challenges. Because I was a babe in the woods, I was just groping in the dark. Though I must confess, my first two authors were instrumental in guiding me through this whole process. They were my mentors, and they would guide me and say, ask me any question. They did refer me to several of the leading publishers because they had already gone through that cycle. They had made some friends, some commissioning editors, and they would write reference email or like Brahm, for example, he would tell everybody she's my agent. And I would I have not even accepted that. I don't even know what it means to be an agent. But he was telling everyone that and recommending authors to me. And I started having people writing to me, I hear you are an agent. So I had lot of a tough time in the sense that I'm not from the publishing industry. I'm from the world of finance, insurance, consulting. And then we come to these books, and he tells me that you make a good literary agent, and people like me. He was from US. I said, why don't you go to the people who are already there? They know how to navigate this. I said, people won't take me seriously. Why will anyone take me seriously? Why will authors want me to represent them? How will it work? He says, I will refer the first few, I will guide you, whatever you have. And the second one, Shirish also was like, he brought me the template, how the agreement should look, what you should look for. Give me a little thing. And one thing led to another, like you said, divine intervention. Some path showed up. There was a small event at the Phoenix Mall, shut up and read. And somehow I got hold of it, I think through the newspaper. Those days we were still reading newspaper. This was 2017 or early 2018, around this time. And then Shirish from US said, why don't you go there and do something? So I just approached them. And then I introduced 6 people in that event, including two of my authors. And, and so sort of the bug was, I had bitten the bug, I guess. And then one thing led to another. So that was the beginning of my literary agency. Lot of challenges. It took me several years of failing, of not getting responses, not knowing how to write a proper proposal, what are the things that go into it. But I was sincere. Every day I would work. Every day I would read. Every day I would try to do some research, little by little, till after a few years. And the pandemic immediately came in, right? I mean, 2020. So there was a lot of time, and there was a whole lot of submissions started pouring in then, 2020, 21, 22. It has not stopped after that. But that's when it started pouring in. When I didn't do anything, I had a half-baked website that Shirish had told me, I must have a website. How will people know about you? And two or three trade magazines also featured me. I don't ask me how they heard about me. Chetan Mahajan called me up one day, Himalayan Writers Retreat. He said, we want to write about literary agents and you're included. I said, really? I mean, is that a joke or what, But I guess word was going around. And, so there were a lot of challenges. I have made a lot of mistakes. All the 70 are not today. If I were to go, it wouldn't, it would be much different. But one learns, one learns. I think every day is a learning.
So, after all these years, what do you think? What skills are absolutely essential for a literary agent?
I think literary agents, one, they should know the market well. See, while writing is a personal pursuit, you want to write what you are capable of writing, what you feel like writing, the story that comes to you. But an agent is more a commercial representation of your work. And for that, you need to know what is working, what are the trends in the market, who is accepting what in what way, if you present it, will it appeal to them. Not that anything packaged in the proper way makes through. I mean, publishers are also very smart people. They will go through the whole thing. Secondly, you must be a reader. I feel, at least I haven't talked to any other agent, so I don't know what they are doing. But I look at it as a reader. If I was a reader, would I pick up this book for 200 rupees or 300 rupees? And also, like you said, we belong to a different generation where we read a lot of, especially if you were reading in English, you read a lot of foreign authors. And as a young person, you're reading more of fiction, thrillers, mysteries, and things like that, where there were hardly any Indian writers. So you were reading all foreign author, foreign published books, not much of Indian story. And what I discovered as an agent was like, hey, guy, man, people like me are also writing those kind of stories. The thing has changed, by the time I came in about 8, 9 years ago, and they were writing those stories. So that was quite a revelation to me. Um, so you have to be a reader, you have to understand, and you have to be a friend, philosopher, guide. That's been my principle because writers are sensitive people. Any artist is a sensitive person, but you have to be that hard nut, because sometimes they also act very difficult. They want everything on that platter on day one. I mean, you don't become Amitabh Bachchan on day one. You have to have through that string of rejections and failures and, mediocre, moderate films where your talent has not come out. And then sort of arrive. Very few people achieve that in their very first instance. So you have to be prepared for that. So that, how do I convey that?
Okay.
Sometimes I may appear as rude, but then I'm trying not to be that. I'm trying to be like just showing you the mirror and saying, sometimes I have said that this book is not fit for publication. It's better as a blog. Why don't you become a successful blogger? In any case, you're sharing your stories. You have a revenue. Today, technology plays a great deal, because when you go into the publishing life cycle, it's again teamwork and it's several levels of acceptance. First is the agent has to accept. Agent again has so many do's and do's. I don't do everything, I cannot do. The publishers also have their publishing list. They don't publish everything that comes their way. They cannot. Everything means money. And sometimes we have to set a bar low, make an entry, try to make a mark, and then do better with the next one. Yeah,
Correct.
I hope I
I think,
answered your question.
yeah, I think you're trying to guide the authors or writers with your forthright comments and straightforward approach. I would call that, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a Virgo. I don't know how to sugarcoat it. I'm trying. But those who know me know that I mean well. And so they
That
don't,
is
I hope so. I hope so. But then uh, you can't also accept everything that comes your way because you're going to disappoint a lot of people. Because today I have to accept what I feel from my point of view, that this may find a publisher who may accept it. I may be very wrong also there, you know. The things that I have been very excited about, not many publishers have found the same excitement. The things I was like, it's okay, it's nice, but I have my doubts. There have been immediate acceptances of those, you know. So it's very
right.
subjective. Uh, so as much as the author finds rejection, the agent also, like me, finds a rejection. I am not a dyed in the wool publisher, though I have quite a good network of commissioning editors from almost all publishing companies, publishing houses, but they will accept only what they want to accept, not because some ABCD is sending them something.
That's true. Please tell us how a literary agent looks like in practice.
I don't think I can speak for anybody but myself,
Sure. Yes.
because we don't have a network. There is no association of literary agents. I think there are very few literary agents. I think even if you add all the book consultants and all, I don't think there'll be more than 2 dozen. I mean, so for a population, even because I do only English language, even if we take that as 200 or 300 million people in the English language space, it's very little. Secondly, it's not mandatory for all publishing houses to be represented by a publisher. There are only one or two who insist on representation, others do not. So as an author, they can go directly to.
Hmm.
So how does it look? I think one has to put in the long hours, because for me now, the reading that I used to have 15, 20 years ago, definitely as a young teenager, this reading is very different. It's not reading for pleasure. It's as you're reading, you're analyzing the book. Who will be the publisher? How will they market it? And quite often, it's not the final copy that I read. So there are a lot sometimes which people should avoid. Sending things with lot of mistakes. Then people say, "Yeah, yeah, I'll send you a first draft." I'm like, why would you send a first draft to me? Because you want me to accept your work and you send me this thing. So you have to have a lot of patience. It's also a very time consuming business. I have a reading list now of 4 to 6 weeks. So if you emailed me on January 1st, I may be just about being able to begin reading those emails. So I go from the bottom. Sometimes I'm looking at the email and something comes in, and people wonder, oh, very quickly I got a response. But it just happened in that moment. But otherwise, I do try to go. So there is that. There's also the time with the publishers, because they will need a. With the agents, it's somewhat faster, I feel, but still they'll take 4 to 6 weeks to come back on the submission. Then, if they are interested, they will ask for the manuscript. Then it's again a 90-day wait. And even after they have accepted, it takes about a month to get the contract in hand. So you have to be very persistent, patient. Don't become a nag. Like many authors become a nag, and every week they want an update. I can't do that. Then people will not. They see my email, they'll just skip it. So
True.
these are the few things I think. Also, what is the standard you want to maintain? While I see that Indian writers are coming into their own, we are telling our own stories that we are more familiar with in our own words, in our own
Okay.
language. Even though English now I consider Indian language, I mean, you in our own way. But even there, you have to maintain certain standards. You can't break all the rules all the time, like grammatical. I find that lot of the writer very good at creating characters or creating a plot, the concept, but sometimes
Okay.
the narrative is not good enough. Because if you have to write 60,000 words, you have to keep the reader engaged, and the reader has to feel enriched after reading this.
Right.
If you're
Yes.
not feeling that,
Mm.
then you should not go for publishing. That's my personal view.
Okay, sure. So, like you mentioned, a lot of hard work and patience from both sides. I think from an agent side and from the author side also.
Even writing takes a lot. No, most of my fiction writers, they require 1.5 to 2 years to finish one thing, you know. But there are others who come. I wrote this in 40 days. I wrote this in. Yeah, it looks. You haven't even read it. You have to let it soak into you. You know that story.
It's a creative process. I think it needs time. You have to give it time. You've been engaging with more than 70 authors worldwide. So, what commonalities and differences do you see among them?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Nobody has asked me that. You know, and then I was thinking about it. What is the common thread? And when I tried to compare, say, 10 or 15 that are, you know, whose books are out now, I don't find anything common.
Hmm.
You
Okay.
know, there's hardly anything common. There is nothing common in the way they are writing. There's hardly anything common in their approach to writing. Uh, you know, and yet I find all of them who have accepted and who are doing multiple books with me very interesting. So commonality, I think a lot of them are I want to do better than my last book. Not in terms of sales, because even mediocre books sales, mediocre product sales, you know, mediocre
Huh.
film succeed, whereas excellent films may not succeed. You know,
Correct.
excellent product may not work. That really doesn't. It depends who is the buyer on the other side. So there, I don't see anything common except the art of creating a story, of creating a plot, and trying to share with that. You know, so I find I'm talking from my personal you know experience. So with this, so many more have come in and gone who have not accepted. I might have gone halfway and then things didn't fall through, or something like that would have happened. But different people are writing for different reasons, and I don't see very many very common.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. The company First Forays also works on film and adaptation rights. So,
Hmm.
how should writers think about the cinematic potential of their stories?
Again, that's a big black hole. You know, it's not an easy thing. It's a big black hole. There are more books published than their films ever be made. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost anything to write a book and get published. You know, even though you have to spend on marketing and all, but it does not compare with the cost of creating a cinematic uh, uh, display of that story. It goes into multiple crores, and there's a whole lot of things with Indian cinema. So
Correct.
it so how do you write like in today's films, if you see, they're all based on some real events, historical wars, biopics. So if you are able to come out with something about some very popular figure who's not very well known but makes for an interesting story, those are the kind of things that filmmakers look for. Right
Oh.
now, since last year, many are asking for rom-coms, but hardly
Oh.
any submissions that come to me, none of them have been a rom-com. A
Mm.
few of them have been romances, like the Gen Z romance kind of thing, but nothing has been a rom com. Crime, crime, thrillers, they are always there. They always make a mark. There's always an interest for that.
I
So
see.
if you are looking at it, historicals, definitely well researched historical with interesting characters put in. Those have a better chance. Anything that is connects with the topic of today, whatever we are talking, or you want to make a different kind of the uh, you know comment, those kind of things will work. But then you cannot write for a film. It's again a very big chance and a very long process, not easy.
Okay. That's a different aspect altogether, I think, of writing for a
Then
film.
screenplay writing and do screenplay writing and be in those circles, you know, then you have a better chance. With a book, uh, you know, in the past and even now, even production houses are looking out for story, you know, so they are also looking for what is coming out. If you see a lot of the books that have been adapted, the books have not been runaway successes. You know, they've been like moderate, known in pockets kind of books, and then the film comes out, and then you know the book gets a spotlight on it, but otherwise not. Uh, so So agents like me, we go to all the film festivals, we go to, the FICCI and all these where they are accepting, where there is a avenue for you to present and then take it from there. A film bazaar in Goa, things like that. And so we are now working with several leading and small niche film production
Okay.
houses. And then we send it to them as and when our catalog is getting appended, we send them a small little adaptation pitch and then wait with our fingers crossed.
Right. Can you tell us what kind of stories or genres are publishing houses looking for? So, what kind of books do they want to publish? What is the latest trend? Can you tell us about it?
So publishing houses look for anything that are commercially viable. You can make a case that this book will sell. You have a case there. Having said that, all publishing houses also have their own priority list, what they will publish and what they will not publish. And that changes year to year. Year to year it changes. You must also understand that the books that release now, right, say the 2026 releases of the book, were all signed in 2024. It was not signed in end of 2025 or so. So
Acha,
right
okay.
now also when I'm submitting, 2026 is already full. Right. So they
Correct.
are looking at, so when you write and when you are looking, you also have to look at how the future is going to turn out, not how is it today. Because what we
Oh,
are seeing today started 2 years back. So they are looking for, nothing succeeds like success for everybody. So if this one succeeds, then you will see similar kind of stories coming out. Having said that, different publishers have different focus areas. There are publishers who are very niche, who will only do, like, say, Indian subcontinent culture and art. Some will do only historical non-fiction. Someone like Penguin will do a whole lot of array of fiction and non-fiction. But even there, they will have some guidelines over what they will accept, what they will not accept. Almost everybody are open to debut authors. Definitely anybody with a well-known track record of book sales are most welcome. But even debut writers, you have to have that little polish. It has to be, excellent in every way in terms of the idea. In terms of, you also have to look at what's our demographic. Today our demographic is that 65% is under the age of 30. So if you're writing on how to take care of your needs in your when you're 80 plus, even that is still 100 million, no doubt about it, bigger than many countries. But when we publish books, it's more for the majority. So we're looking at demographics. They also do a market research to find out what is it. So self-help books are very in. Self-help books, people who are writing for their own genre, for their own age group. I
okay.
cannot write a self-help book now for a Gen Z. I really don't know that world. There are no Gen Zs in my house. I'm far from being a Gen Z. Even my daughter is not a Gen Z. So
Correct.
so when a Gen Z writes about self-help, how to navigate, say, social media rejection or whatever it is that their challenges, those things do work. Those
Okay.
things do work, but predominantly non-fiction. You have a better chance with non-fiction than with fiction.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So,
Yeah,
according to you, what major shifts are happening in the Indian and global book publishing landscape? What do you think?
I think technology is playing a big role.
Mhm.
Technology, see, Amazon became a big disruptor, say 10, 15 years ago, in terms of distribution. Then they themselves, then the Kindle came in, and then now there's the distribution, the print on demand. So there is a whole lot of technology that's opening up new ideas for new kinds of books. Things that would have not been accepted 20 years back, today they still find acceptance because the cost of finding a retail for it through the trade is much more easier. Like Amazon, any other point of online point of sale are more democratic and open to everybody. The trend again, as I see it, I think the mythological fiction, I think that's been done to death. At least I feel that way. And a couple of publishers have also told me, like, you might see some books coming, but again, that was 2 years back, so we don't want to do that. So the trends, I think, more are something that is reality based, historical fiction, or any other real event, social norms, social changes that we see. things like that. Definitely, there is a interest for those stories.
What is one publishing myth you would strongly want to burst?
I think now that you ask me, the one myth that I want to bust is that just because it is written well, it will get accepted.
Hmm.
No, if it doesn't fall into their list, however well you have written it, however brilliant it may be, if it is not in the priority of the publishing house, they will not accept. So there have been, one or two very well written books that could not find a publisher because they didn't want it, because it was not on their priority. Same thing, it happens when you come to the agent also. Like fantasy. I mean, I keep on telling people, don't come to me with a fantasy. I don't know what to do with.
Acha,
So
okay.
even though it may be like you might have done 2 years of research and this, but I'm not the right person. Like you have to go to the right doctor, You have a kidney problem, you don't go to the dermatologist. So you should not do that.
Correct. What has been your proudest moment with first forays so far?
Yeah, again, something that I've not thought of because I suffer from deep imposter syndrome. Unless somebody tells me that you're good enough, I'm not good enough. So what am I proud of? I think it's yet to come. There's so much more to do. And I'm seeing that we are inching ourselves there. So if I were to really pat my back or pat the back of first forays, is that we remain true to our soul. We did not go for the, just the numbers, hardly
Oh.
pick 5 or 6 authors in a year. And, the old authors are also coming up with new books. So you might see me more often, but it's not new authors. It's the old authors coming with their second, third book. That I didn't drop out of this, I didn't give up. There are days when I want to give up. I'm like, why do I need to keep updating? Why do I need to disappoint these people? And where is the money in all of this? But I did not give up. I think and I did not go for easy kind of publishing. And more I'm taking the more difficult path. Uh, so I think to that extent, money is not my objective. Is to see that we bring in, good writing, good stories, different stories coming to the fore.
That is nice. If you could give just one piece of advice to every aspiring writer watching Language Talks today, what would it be?
I think write regularly, improve your writing, improve your creative writing. Structurally it may be all right, but creative writing is something else. You have to have a understanding of what really works for creative writing. Especially a lot of the submissions that come my way are all fiction writing. A lot of them. I mean, maybe 60% are fiction writing. 40% are again very research based, they are fictional, but a lot of the background is all real. So the thing is, one, the language has to be very good. The narration has to hold the attention of the reader, not just tell them something, Even when you are narrating, say, a story that you have already heard, so there are different ways. You can say it in the dullest of way and finish the story, or you can add your own mit masala and make it very interesting, we used to tell stories to each other after seeing a movie in school and all that. So, one, I think writers should be very devoted to their craft. Craft for writing for publishing. Writing for yourself, journal, blogs, do it your way. But if you want to write for publishing, there are certain standards you have to maintain. You have to be open to suggestions, criticisms, recommendations, things like that. Because again, publishing is a teamwork. Writing is a solitary work. Whereas publishing is a teamwork, there are so many other entities putting in their time and effort and money. So they will have a say, and you have to be open to wanting to look at that dispassionately. Because everything is going to help you. What is your ultimate goal? Your ultimate goal is to have more and more readers for your book, for your story. Or even if you don't have a infinite number of readers, at least you have a devoted number of readers who look forward to your second book. So that, and then patience. Patience, be patient. If you have an agent, just let the agent do their job. Don't sit down and once you have found this, your search should end with the agent, unless the agent is very obnoxious and unable to do their work. But that itself, you can, to a great degree, you can find out while you are doing the research for an agent. We don't have tons of agents in this country. And so once you do that, allow them to do it. Because for an agent, like I always say, I have no success unless my author has succeeded. My success comes after the author has succeeded. And for the author to succeed, I have to make everything possible, to help them succeed. It is their work, but then how do you do the visibility? Which is the publishing house that is good for this work? How do you create a marketing plan for your book? What is the messaging you should have? Many people don't want to say anything about their story, but they want that person to spend 400 rupees and buy the book. In today's time, that doesn't work. I'm like, give away half your story. So what? At least somebody has heard that story. When they remember Lalita, they'll know, oh, she wrote that story, with those two characters, even though they may not know what happened there. But I am saying, give it away so that, and maybe half of them will want to know, hey, what happened next, and go and buy the book, or at least borrow the book, or at least buy a Kindle book, whatever. The medium doesn't help. It doesn't matter. And today there are also audiobooks. Even if you're consuming a story through the audiobooks, I'm told the audiobooks are also growing very fast. Because we spend a lot of time on the road, we spend a lot of time where we cannot visually look at something. So we or read something, so you can hear the audiobook around that time.
This was a lovely conversation where you took us into your world of literary agent. So thank you very much for that. Before we sign off, I wanted to ask which other languages interest you in addition to English?
That's where I'm very limited. The only proficiency in terms of reading, writing, speaking is English, unfortunately for me. I am a Tamilian. I do speak Tamil and read a bit of Tamil, but Tamil is written language is very different from the spoken language. The formal language is very different from the informal language that we speak at home. Like if I have to hear Karunanidhi's speeches, I just cannot understand what he's speaking because it's so literary in its form. So it's very difficult for me as a Tamil. But as a growing up, I think we will learn Hindi, right? So Hindi is something I think I'm good at, though I'm not very good at the spoken Hindi because that's what we were taught. We were taught all Premchand and Kabir ke dohe and all that. So it's more like textbook kind of a thing. But any other language, unfortunately, no.
Okay, sure.
Thank you very much for calling me and talking to me. Some very interesting questions that I had to think about how to address it. So thank you.
So much, Lalitha, for joining. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining me in conversation with Lalitha. See you in the next episode. Till then, have a good day. Bye bye.